on today's video, we are back with another episode of the BC201 project. And in the last video, after we installed the Tandemkross Game Changer comp, and in the video before that, we put the KRG Bravo chassis on, I promised you guys we were going to get it out to the range and shoot it. But here we are back in the studio again. Well, the reason we're not taking it to the range yet is because the final piece showed up for this project. Now, I was going to take it out and run it just the way it sits right now, but I thought, why waste the time, the money, the editing process, and all that stuff when we're going to be putting this last piece in anyway. Let me go get that part. We'll come back and we'll talk about it. And our final piece is the Tandemkross Manticore trigger assembly for the Ruger 1022. Now, I really want to thank Tandemkross for sending this out to the channel. I did reach out to them, told them what we were doing with this project, and they said they would love to help out. So that was super cool of them to send out this trigger assembly. Now, let's switch cameras. We're going to unbox this. We're going to go over all the features of it. Then we're going to get it in the gun. And we're going to do a trigger pull weight on the trigger that's in it now. And then we're going to do a trigger pull weight on this one. All right, let's check this out. So this is the packaging it comes in. The sleeve just slides off of here. We'll set that off to the side. We're going to open this up. All right, and then you have an important card in here. This is telling you not to pull the trigger on this until it is in the receiver. All right, then we have a very small Allen wrench and a Torx wrench, and then our trigger kit. Let me make sure that is everything in the box. All right, we are good to go. Very nice packaging. All right, so let's take a look at this trigger kit. Now, I've got the black and red, and I do believe they have this in all black. Now, this pack has everything on it. So we've got our mag release. Look at this here. Definitely oversized. You got a nice big paddle here. So this is going to make it a lot nicer for changing magazines. Now, my favorite part about this trigger kit is the safety selector. So this has a ambi safety selector. And normally on a Ruger 1022, you have the crossbolt. And me being left-handed, that really sucks. I was able to find one guy, I believe on eBay, that makes a reverse safety for lefties. And I do have that in my Ruger PC carbine. But I did not have one of those yet for our BC201 project. So I really like the safety selector. Now, the next super cool thing about this trigger pack is it does have a bolt hold open. And it is an oversized knob. And it is toolless. You can loosen it up and take that off. And the reason they made it that way is because when you do insert this trigger pack into the receiver, when you go to drop it back into the stock, you're probably going to have to take that off, and our safety selector switches are going to have to come off. Now let's talk about this trigger. So I've already had it out and played with it a little bit. The trigger has a very super clean break on it, just like my Tandemkross trigger in my Ruger PC carbine. You flip your safety, locks that out, works great. Now, what I want to show you here is there's a hole right here, okay? And that little tiny Allen wrench, you can stick that in there, and that will adjust your pre-travel. You also have your adjustment here, which you will take your Allen wrench and go in. There is a hole right in front of the trigger shoe to adjust that. Now the other super cool thing is here on the top, if you look, we've got another hole right here, and that is for adjusting our trigger pull weight. Now from the factory, this should be set at about 3.5 pounds. We will check it with the trigger pull gauge, but you just put your Allen wrench down in that hole, loosen it up. You can drop this trigger all the way down to 2 pounds or a little less, and I believe you can go all the way up to a 5-pound trigger pull. All right, let's get this out of the way. This gun is clear. There is no mag in it, nothing in the chamber. Now, before we install our trigger kit, let's get a trigger pull weight on this. All right, we broke right at 3 3/4 pounds. Not the 3.5 we normally get, but I just wanted to show you guys that. Now, what we're going to do, and I can't show you here on YouTube, I have to take the receiver out of the chassis. And then I'm going to kind of show you how you take the trigger out, but I can't really show you. All right, we've got everything out of the chassis. Now, like I said, I cannot show you how to remove the trigger, but if you look, you've got a pin here, which is already starting to fall out, and a pin right here. You just take those 2 pins out, and you drop your trigger pack right out of the receiver. Now, we're going to leave it like this till I get the trigger adjusted exactly where I want it. All right, we got the Manticore trigger pack installed. I told you guys wrong there at the beginning. You got to take that pin out and that pin out. This one just always falls out until I get it back in the chassis. But anyway, our trigger's in. And YouTube, I'm not showing anybody how to put these parts in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get a trigger pull weight on our new trigger here. Okay. Yeah, so right there, about 4.5 pounds. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to start adjusting this down, and I want to get this right where I want it. All right, I've got the screw for the trigger pull weight backed out as far as I can get it to go without it messing with our bolt. So let's see what we get here on the scale. All right, we broke right under 3 pounds. I was hoping to get that down to about a 2.5 pound pull. Not too big of an upgrade from the last trigger. We were at about 3.5, 3 3/4, and now we're just right at 3 pounds. But I'm sure it's going to feel a lot better, and we'll just have to see. Once we get 100 rounds or so through this, we should be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this reinstalled back in the chassis, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, I've got everything back together, and we have ran into another snag, and that would be our bolt hold open. So yes, this gun is clear. There's no mag, nothing in the chamber. Now I can reach it and use it, but as you can see, we do not have our knob on there, and that is because it is hitting our KRG Bravo chassis. Now that's not Tandemkross's fault. This would fit fine on the stock that came with this gun, or a Ruger 1022 stock, but it does not play nice with this chassis. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I don't know if I'm going to remove some of this material, or just find something threaded like this, a little smaller, and use that. I might just go that route. But other than that, I do want you to be aware that you're not going to be able to use this knob with the Bravo chassis. Now, as far as the trigger goes, I've been playing with this trigger off camera, and it is pretty awesome. So I'm going to show you here. I'm going to just use my thumb, but there is no take up. It just breaks. You touch it, it breaks. No take up at all. There was take up with the Bear Creek trigger, and that was a good trigger, guys. I'm not sitting here bashing that trigger. It was good, but it's not this good. I'll show you this one more time. All right, this time I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to show you that reset. The reset's insane. It barely. I don't even know. I'm going to watch it here. 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch maybe. It's it's freaking insane. It's got just such a crisp brake. The reset is amazing. I just wish we would have got that 2-pound pull, but this doesn't even feel like a 3-pound trigger at all. I love that reset and that nice clean brake. I think it'll settle in. We'll you know, we're gonna get some stuff lubed up and everything before we head out to the range, and then we get 100, 200 rounds down range with this. I think this trigger's gonna settle in nice. Now, the other thing that I really like is the safety. This is so much better, especially for the wrong-handed person like myself. But there we are on safe. Flip that. It's just nice. I hit the trigger that time when I dropped it. Now, I have not tried the mag release. So let's see how this does. All right. Oh, yeah. There we go. Kind of weird putting a mag in from over here on this angle, but... All right, so there it is. I'm going to put my hand down here. It does drop free. Flip it around. That was a lot better. Yeah, so nice and tight. I'm grabbing it, pulling down on it. It's not going anywhere. And drops out nice and free. So that's a really nice thing to have, to drop that mag. I mean, I can just use my trigger finger and hit that. Yeah, it's a really nice trigger kit. I just wished it was just a little bit lighter, but I think we'll get it lightened up. So other than that, I'm real happy with it. I want to thank Tandemkross for sending it out. I think this thing looks pretty awesome. We got the Tandemkross comp out there. We got our trigger kit now. There will be a separate review coming out on this Tandemkross mag. Other than that, this is pretty badass. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.